Welcome to Let's Get Into It. I am your host, Sherelle Higgins. Let's Get Into It is a safe space to have real conversations that are meant to uplift, encourage, and let you know you are not the only one dealing with life. Each episode of Let's Get Into It is designed to provide illuminating and thought-provoking information on a variety of topics. In fact, no topic is off limit. If you would like to see a topic discussed, please feel free to make a recommendation. My special guest and I will have a great time discussing topics that the mainstream media wouldn't dare discuss. We will bring these conversations to you with an open mind, respectfully, from different perspectives, and most importantly, with love. Thank you for joining me and my special guest. Now, let's get into it. Well, hello. Let's get into it. I am excited about today's show because we are going to talk about the number one and number two questions that we often get. And so today's episode is going to be about the person who has spent the last 40 years with me. Lucky him. And we're going to talk about our journey to retirement. And I will tell you that not only has he spent the last 40 years with me, we grew up together. And when you think about 40 years, think about 40 decades. You know, we were together. I was a teenager when I met him. So this will be my fifth decade with him. But we were together in our 20s and our 30s and our 40s and now in our 50s. And so I will like to bring my special guest, my man, my husband, my babe to the screen. Welcome, babe.
Hello. How's everyone doing tonight?
So, babe, one of the questions we often get is how were we able to retire on the same day? And so I want to talk a little bit about what that looked like for us and talk about how we have been doing it. And since we retired, quite a few people have asked us or said to us, oh, I don't know what I would do if I retired. And so we want to talk about, what we've been doing since we retired and, how our day to day is going and all those sorts of good topics. And so with that being said, since we've been together for 4 decades, we have learned that each of us have a role in this relationship. And I don't cross over into his role, and he doesn't cross over into my role. And so my role is to be the administrator. And babe, what's your role?
I'm definitely logistics.
Okay, there you go. I'm the administrator and he's logistics. And so with that, those are very clear roles, and we understand how both of those roles are equally as important as the other one. And so we don't try to diminish each other's role, and we don't cross over into each other's role because that wouldn't necessarily work out great. And so as the administrator, one of the things that I'm responsible for in the relationship is I am the financial planner in the relationship. And so with that, I can tell you, and I've said this many of times, that I am so thankful and I feel so blessed that I met a lady 30 something years ago when I first began working for the federal government, who took an interest in me. And she pulled me to the side and said, I'm going to introduce you to my husband, and he's our family's financial planner, and he's going to tell you what to do with your money. Now, here's the important part. Not only did he tell me what to do with my money, I actually followed the blueprint to a T. I never wavered. Never ever wavered. I never thought that anything else was more important financially than to follow the blueprint. And so I hear that it is unusual for couples to retire on the same day. It's usually because one is older than the other, and yes, he's older than I am, or one just has to work longer to reach retirement age. And so when I began planning for our retirement, the plan was for him to work 18 months longer than me because, as many of you know, you can't tap into your 401k or your thrift savings plan or whatever, 403bs, all of those retirement accounts, your IRAs, without penalty until you're 59 and a half. And so, by me working for the federal government, I had to be 56 in 4 months. And so he was gonna work 18 months longer than me so that he could be 59 and a half in order to tap into his retirement account without penalty. And so, babe, how did you feel about that initial plan?
Well, I was going to do what I had to do anyway. It was still early in my book, 59 compared to 62 or 65. So, hey, it's steam forward ahead.
Okay, and I distinctly remember one day he was sitting in that same room he's sitting in right now, and I had crunched some numbers. And when I crunched those numbers, I thought to myself, well, if he worked 18 more months, that means that's 18 months I'm gonna have to postpone doing the type of things that I want to do during my first year of retirement because I would often have to hear, well, I gotta work, I gotta go to work. I gotta work. I can't take off. And I didn't want that to be a hindrance to really start and not I shouldn't even say start, continuing to live our best life.
Right.
And so he was sitting in there working, and I walked in there one day and I said to him, what do you think about us retiring on the same date? He turned around and he was like, okay. He didn't know what the day was. He didn't ask no
Right.
questions.
What day is that? Nothing. Let's do it.
Right. And so that date was August 31st, 2022. And so it's been almost 2 years since we retired on that day. And so one of the things I want to talk about is with me being the administrator in the relationship, how important it was for, even though he's not the administrator and he don't get involved in that, it was really important for him to support the plan. So, babe, you want to share how you were able to support the plan? You don't even know.
I know. Support plan was go to work, put the check in the bank. But that's what I was accustomed to. I've been doing that all my life, and we had met at such a young age. I knew I wasn't the one who was going to handle the money. And when I met Sherelle, before we were even serious, she could handle that money.
What do you mean before we were serious? I've been serious since day one.
I mean, serious, like on this financial plan or anything, just life. I was a kid. I was 20 years old. I wasn't serious about life.
Well, I've been serious since I was 18.
Okay, got back to you then.
And so, it was when I met with, and I've often talked about her, my mentor, and her husband took an interest in me, and she introduced me to her husband, and he was their financial planner. And he said, here's what I want you to do with your money. And not only did I listen, I followed the script to a T. And I never wavered from the plan. And I never made anything more important than the financial plan. And that included activities for the children, that included vacation time. And one of the strategies that he taught me was early in my career. Of course, I thought that we couldn't afford to put the maximum amount into our 401k plans. And so he said, start with the minimum amount that they will match you. And so within the government, they match dollar for dollar on the first 3% and then 50 cent on the dollar for the next 2%. So that's up to 5%. And the way he explained it to me was you do not want to leave any free money on the table. And so I started with that 5%. And he said, every time you get a pay raise, may that be a step increase, a cost of living increase, or a promotion, I want you to increase it by 2% until you get to the point where you are at the max. And so, as many people know, if you work in the government, early in your career, if you're on a career ladder, you're going to get a pay raise every year, you're going to get a step increase every year for the first 3 years, and you're going to also get your cost of living increase. And so, really, you had an opportunity to increase it every year by 3%. And he said, if you do it the same pay period in which those things take effect, then you won't even miss the money because you never got the money. And so I was able to do that and also continue to do that until I was able to max out, which means the IRS says there's a certain amount of money that you can put into your IRA account or your 401k, your TSP account, and a maximum amount you can put in every year. And it's you don't pay taxes on that money. And so that's what I did. And once I started maxing it out, which was very early in my career, I think I was probably maxing it out by the time I had 10 years of service. And at that point, I still needed to work 22 years. And so we continued to max it out for the next 22 years so that when it was time to retire, because I always knew I wanted to retire, um, we were financially prepared. Now, Jim didn't work for the federal government. Babe, you want to talk about who you worked for?
When I first got out of college, I worked for Crate and Barrel, and then I worked for EDS, Electronic Data Systems, Hewlett Packard, and then a small contracting company, Excalibur Solutions, and that's where I ended my career.
And so he was private industry. And so they are a little tricky, right? So, you just have to know what it is that your company offers and how you can maximize that. And so when he left Hewlett Packard, he had a 401k and he went to work for a small business and worked for that small business for about 12 years before we retired. And so I was able to take his 401k and roll it over to an IRA. And once I rolled it over to that IRA, I started investing that money into the stock market and making sure that I'm kind of a organized person and I keep an eye on all financial transactions. And so I make
Yes,
sure. What'd you say?
yes, she does.
And so I rolled his over and I started investing his money into the stock market. And I was able to double what he had in his IRA by investing that money into the stock market. In 12 short years, I was able to double the money. And so now, we start getting close to retirement. And so we have not only his IRA, but we also have my in the federal government, they call it the TSP, Thrift Savings Plan. And so now we have both of these entities. Back in 2018, just because not only was I investing his money in the stock market, I made sure that the formula that my financial advisor gave me, my mentor's husband, I made sure that that money was spread out amongst the right funds in the TSP that would maximize the earnings over the years. And so I stayed with that strategy. And basically, what he told me was, you want to take however old you are and you want to put that in the G fund. And at the time, I was in my early 20s. And so I took 20% of the money that I was investing in the TSP and I put it in the G fund. And then I took the 80% and I put it, or what, I was probably 25. So I took the 25%, put it in the G fund, and I took the 75% and put it in the more riskier funds. And I kept it that way. And then every year, as I got a year older, I would deduct that 1% and put it back in the G fund. So when I was 30, I was putting 30% of my money in the G fund and leaving the other 70% in the other riskier funds. And so that's kind of how I was able to manage us being able to maximize earning money off of our retirement account. Now, babe,
Yes, ma'am.
you're so silly.
Yeah.
So, so one of the things that I just don't think you give yourself enough credit for
Okay.
is really like sticking with the plan. Like having talk about how important it was to you to have somebody that you can trust with your money and somebody how important it was that you could trust me with your money.
Yeah. Well, I always trusted you with my money, so that was no problem. We had built trust, from a long time ago. So um, I never missed out on anything I wanted to do. So, anything that I missed out on was just an extracurricular pleasure that really just, you hear about the room, okay, I want a boat. But, everybody knows the best thing to have is a friend who has a boat, not own it,
Right.
because it's a money pit. We know that. And I had one of those. So, we were able to get out on the water regularly. Again, I want an extracurricular, I want a motorcycle. I always wanted a motorcycle, but, my father was against it. Then I met you, you were against it. Then logically, it didn't make any sense in our status of life where we were, me having a motorcycle. I already had a bicycle, which, takes time away. And then when I brought some of those things up, frugal Fanny here would say, do you want to retire? And it put it all in perspective, and now as I look back and we joke about that nowadays, I appreciate that and really didn't need it.
And still don't.
Still don't. It's still extracurricular. You drive by 500 miles in the United States of America. You drive by each property. There's going to be a camper, ATV, a boat, something sitting out in the front yard, rotting. So, the words of the famous statement, you want to retire, made it that much more easier. So here I am retired and I don't miss any of that. Not at all.
And that's really important. If you can't trust, if you're not, so here's one of the pieces of advice I like to offer couples. Whoever is the best person with the money should handle the money, right? Because as he called me frugal, if he had been the type of man who would say, I'm the man, I'm gonna handle the money, we would still be working. Well, he would still be working because I'm gonna invest in my full and my TSP. So he would still be working. I would be retired, and he probably would have to work the rest of his life because he's just not the best person to handle the finances, and that's fine. And so for me, it was really important and comforting to know that he trusted me with his money, and I took that seriously. I wanted to make sure that I didn't do anything to not only let him down, but disappoint him to the point where he thought he was going to be able to retire. And now I got a story I need to tell about how we don't have no money to do that. And he's trusted me over all of these years to handle the finances. And so Crush got a kick out of frugal Fanny. And Kim said, oh, you're retired now. Let him have his motorcycle. Kim, I will tell you, we rode past the Harley Davidson shop today on our way to get something to eat. And he said, oh, look at that motorcycle over there. The teal one. It looked just my size. I said, absolutely not.
That was just for old time's sakes. That's how I used to ride down the road all the time. Now it's like, whatever.
Right. And so, making sure that if you are in a relationship, it is really important for the person who's going to be the best person to manage the money. Let them handle the money. Men, this is not the time to let your egos get in the way of prosperity. Don't do it. If you can trust your wife, let her handle the money if she's the best one. Wives, this is not the time for you to say, I'm independent. I'm about he ain't nobody going. It ain't time for that, right? If your spouse is the best person to be able to handle the money, let them handle the money. Now, you can always check in and make sure you should have access to the money to watch it yourself and make sure things are going as you expect it to go. I'm not saying do this blindly like Jim did. I'm just saying there's different strategies that you can use to make sure that you feel comfortable with somebody else managing your money. And so as we were raising our kids, one of the things people would say to us is, what about a college fund? Well, let me tell you about the college fund. I tell people back then, I don't have no college fund for my kids. Now, if my kids happen to go to college, I will support them in that, but I don't have a college fund for them because what happens is, particularly the generations that are coming up now, they will go to college because that's what the parent want them to do, but they will get to college and then decide that they don't want to finish college. And now they think they got a college fund and the money is theirs when they knew good and well they haven't put a dime in. And so that's exactly what happened with our children. They went to college, but they decided they didn't want to finish college. And guess what? Their college fund was our retirement account, and our retirement account is our retirement account. They got nothing out the deal. And that's cool, right? Because we spending our money. And so I'm going to say this part now because, as I mentioned earlier, I kind of Jim and I started kicking this off, and I hadn't hit the go live button. So I'm gonna say this again. When we went to the Virginia State Founders Day function a couple of weeks ago, a friend of ours came and sat at the table with us. And as we were talking, she said, "Can I ask you all a question?" We were like, "Of course." And she said, "Rumor has it that you all are the couple who hit the lottery in Virginia." So let me just clear up the rumor right now. Babe, did you hit the lottery?
I have not hit the lottery. I have not hit the lottery. I play religiously, though. I play regularly. But,
would you hit the lottery and not tell me? You know you're not good with managing the money.
I don't think that is a possibility, is it? And I know you can tell me how many toothpicks hit the ground, right? So I don't know.
So no, we did not hit the lottery. That is not the strategy for retirement, hoping that you hit the lottery, because you may not never hit the lottery. So you want to make sure that's not part of your retirement plan, is to hit the lottery. And so we did not hit the lottery. I wish we hit the lottery. And then maybe, probably not. I was going to say maybe he can get a motorcycle, but I'm not feeling the motorcycles. They seem dangerous to me. And I'm certainly not getting on no motorcycle. So that would be bad. Maybe he could get a boat at that point, but that would depend on how much the maintenance and stuff is. If that's a lot of money, then he won't be able to do that because Frugal Fanny over here.
Talking about how much does that cost?
Absolutely. You always got to ask that question. And so as I was talking about how I was managing our different 401ks, one of the things that I wanted to mention is with no Hurley Jackson, he is not getting the boat. One of the things I wanted to mention is as we began to, as we were well into our plan of saving for retirement, and I was manipulating the numbers based on my age and putting the money where it needed to go to keep a certain portion of the money. The G fund, if you're a federal worker, the G fund is the safe fund, but you won't make any money in the G fund per se, but you won't lose none either. And so as I was managing all of that, I pay close attention every day to this day to the stock market to make sure that if something is on the horizon, like when the crash happened in 2008, um, I can make the appropriate adjustments. And so my financial advisor was still living back when that happened, and he told me, he said, "Don't touch your money." He said, "Yes, you're going to lose some money in this process." He said, "But you're going to not only make up that money, you're going to surpass that amount. So just sit tight, don't panic." And so that's what I did. However, when I was probably a couple years out from retirement, the stock market started getting kind of shaky. And so, under the last administration, I made a lot of money under that. And so, as the stock market started to get a little bit shaky, I took all of my money out of all of the risky funds and put it in the G fund because I knew that I was going to be retiring in a couple of years. And so, I needed to have access to all of my money, not just some of my money. And so back in 2018, I remember on my sister and I show, Sisters in Company, talking about it. I distinctly remember make, uh, making an announcement. And babe, do you remember what that announcement was?
Mm-mm.
Of course not, because it's not logistics, so he don't remember. So back in 2018, we had saved so much money, we became millionaires. And so that was very, very important. That was one of my goals. I knew that in order to retire in this economy, in this area where we live, where the cost of living is high, that it was going to be important for us to at least have, at a minimum, $1 million saved up. Now, let's put that in perspective. The $1 million was all tax-free money. So what happens when you retire? You got to pay taxes on that money. Every time you pull some of that money out, you got to pay taxes on that money. And so while we were working, there was a lot of things we wanted to do that we just kept pushing off and just didn't do it. So, for example, once we retired, we had some renovations done to our house, and we were able to pay cash for that. But Uncle Sam got his chunk of that money too. And yes, we ended up paying a lot of money in taxes, but we had the money to pay in taxes. And so, so one of the pieces of advice I want to give people is, if you are thinking about retirement and you do not have a Roth account, please open a Roth account and start putting money in that Roth account, because the money that go in the Roth account is money that has already been taxed. And once you retire and you start pulling that money out, you don't then have to pay taxes on it again. So I will pass that on to you. The other thing I want to pass on to you, if you're thinking about retiring, is think about really what do you want to do that first year. Just think about that, because that's going to be very important. And if travel is something that you want to do that first year, I would recommend that you pay for all of the travel you want to do the first year while you are working. And so that's what we did. With the exception of about 2 trips, all of the travel that you all saw us doing on social media was already paid for, because we paid for that while we were working. And so, babe, you want to talk about some of the places we went?
Oh shoot. Um, we went to Maldives. We went to Grenada. No, St. Lucia.
Both.
Oh, Grenada too. We went to Florida for a month. We drove to Nashville. We went to Michigan. We went to Toronto. Anywhere else?
We went on the auto train down to Florida. We were gone for 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of that was paid for before we retired. So the next year, all we had to do was pay to renovate our house. And so you want to kind of think about different strategies of what you want to do when you retire. And so we were able, well, he just kind of went along. I would say, okay, we leave on Thursday. Just pack your stuff. We going somewhere warm. You're gonna need a swimming suit. Hurley said, "Can y'all adopt me?" So you want to make sure that you kind of think it through, right? Because retirement can be a long-term thing, right? And so, and then you can decide um, whether or not you choose to work beyond your official retirement. And so, I will tell you that um, in terms of us, babe, you choosing to work?
No, I don't want to work again unless I choose to. You know, that's the question I got a lot from people. Is like, what are you gonna do? Well, whatever I'm gonna do is gonna be for me, and maintaining good health and my sanity, my mental health, and I'll find something to do. I'll replace it with work. You know, some of the terms when people think about retirement are retreat and withdraw and recuse from something. So, I mean, some people are afraid of retirement because it's like, what am I going to do? I'm going to waste away. I can't sit around all day like that. Well, you don't have to. You just take your time, get up when you want to get up, and then I don't even plan. I just get up and start doing things. But I keep myself busy. I have hobbies also. That's a good key. I like to bicycle. For those of you who know me, one of the best things that happened going into retirement is the last company that I worked with. They added to my joy of retirement by giving me a gift. The gift led me into retirement, and my gift sleeps in the house with me like man's best friend. And then that was a new bicycle, and my old boss allowed me to pick it out. So I have cycling to look forward to. That's and snowboarding. Those are the things I like to do. As long as I can get up and get a walk in, get a nice bike ride in, I'm good. That's anything to the pursuit of happiness and retirement. Joyful life. Um, yeah.
So Lakeisha asked, how did you determine your choose to work while you were winding down in your career? So Lakeisha, I will tell you this. I had job offers before I even retired. For people who knew I was retiring, people were trying to get me to work. And I actually had agreed to do some work for somebody. We retired August 31st, and I was supposed to start like in October. And when the time came, I decided, I said, I haven't been away from the workplace long enough. I need the first year to myself. And I don't want to be committed to anything. I don't want to be on the hook to do anything. I don't want to have to think about anything I don't want to think about. And so I ultimately turned down the opportunity. And so after being off for a year, I was then approached by a different company and asked to do some training. And so I thoroughly enjoy doing training, and it's one of my gifts. And so I don't mind doing it. However, I have a lot of rules that people must adhere to, or else I just say no. So here are my rules. Number one, it has to be virtual. I'm not going outside commuting in no traffic. That's out of the question. Number two, it has to be worth my time, right? My time is very valuable. I value the time that I spend sitting on the couch looking at YouTube. And so it has to be worth my time. Number three, when you retire from the federal government, because you're under FERS and you're not eligible to collect Social Security, you get something from OPM called a Social Security supplement. And with that Social Security supplement, there's an earnings limit on it. So you can't go over a certain amount of earnings for otherwise they start reducing the amount of your supplement. And so I have to look at how much is this opportunity going to pay me and think about it in terms of what I intend to do over the entire year. Because what I'm not doing is giving up my supplement unless it's worth it. Right. And so let's say the earnings limit is $20,000. I'm not going to give up my part of my supplement for $21,000 because I earned the extra $21,000. I might as well make 19,000 and keep my supplement. And so, however, if it's somebody offering me over a year's time $100,000, yeah, I'll give them the $20,000 because I'm still netting 80, right? And so I have to do the earnings test on it. Also, it has to be something that I want to do, something that I feel passionate about, something I feel like I'm giving my best talent to. And so if it doesn't meet that, I can't do it. They have to whatever it is that they want me to do, it has to work around my travel schedule because I'm not giving up my travel schedule to do no work because I don't have to work. I only want to work occasionally. And so last year I was able to work, do some classes, and it was all fine and well. But I just, they were able and willing to work around all of my stipulations. And so, as you start to think about retiring, think about what it is that you really want to do. Where's your passion? This is your opportunity to do something that you're passionate about. And you also want to start making connections with people prior to your retirement so that when you are ready to walk into a different space at your choosing, you have already made those connections and people are willing to give you the opportunity and understand where you are. And so, in addition to, so yes, I intend to work occasionally, and I do occasionally, but I'm not going to commit to no job that requires me to become a part of an organization. Let me say that again. I am not going to commit to no job that requires me to become a part of an organization because what I don't want to do ever again is deal with the politics of an office. I do not want to deal with the poor leadership that's in organizations. I don't want to deal with the poor performing employees in an organization. I want to go into an organization. I want to teach a class and I'm leaving. I don't need to get to know nobody. I can barely remember your name. That's fine with me. And so that's all that I want to do. And if there are opportunities that allow me to do that, I take advantage of those. I also speak at conferences. I enjoy doing that. And so, again, it doesn't require me to be embedded into no organization. I go, they give me the theme of the conference, I prepare my stuff. Mr. Logistics over there with me. So he can do the logistics,
Yes, indeed. I'll get there.
And so, and it works for us, right? It just works for us. Neither like he doesn't want to work again, and that's cool. I don't have a problem with that. He put in his time and he did his part so that he doesn't have to work if he don't want to. I'm cool with that, and I don't look at it like, I'm taking care of him. No, he has his own money. Well, not really own money, because our money.
It goes a lot further that way.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
it goes a lot further. One of the other things I want to talk about, babe, you want to share with them what's your perspective about people look at us from the outside and think, oh, well, if they could do all of this, surely they must have some money that they can loan me.
Loaning money is basically don't loan any money out to anybody unless you're prepared not to get it back. Because if they don't have it now, most likely they're not going to have it then. And so you already know in advance that you may not get your money back. So that's just the way I've looked at it all my life. So
it's an annoyance to me for people to ask me can they borrow money. It just really get on my nerves, because I'm like, no, we did not save money all of these years to give it away. Like, I get irritable when my kids ask for money. I'm like, no, like, you decided not to finish college. Okay, that works for me. So no. Now, of course, we're going to support our kids and we're going to help them out of binds, but it ain't because I like it or I enjoy it. I'm like, no, like, figure it out. And so, no, they do really well, and they don't, because they don't want to hear it. They have to come to me for the money.
Because I don't have no money. That's what the game I play when they come to me. I don't have no money. Go ask your mom. But they know where the money comes from, so she's the key, the gatekeeper. Yeah.
Dr. Paulette said banks are insured for losses, not me. I do not loan money. I'm gonna use that, Doc. Yes, I like that.
I don't have any money to loan, so.
And I don't either, because we are living our lives and we are doing things that we had to postpone doing because we were raising our kids and we were on a retirement plan. And so, yes, we could have renovated our house back, over the years, but that would have taken away from the retirement plan. We could have, we can have a debt put on the house. We could have done that over the years, but no, that would have taken away from the retirement plan. Mm-hmm. And so now we have, the financial resources to be able to do these type of things and not have to worry about it. Not, and one of the other questions that I get is, how do you go from multiple checks a month to only getting paid once a month? And so my response to that is, you just pay all your bills at the beginning of the month. That comes first and foremost. At the beginning of the month, I pay all of our bills. I don't care. I'm not putting it off. I'm not paying no late fees, because that's giving money away that I could spend on me and him. No, I'm not doing that. And so we just pay all of our bills at the beginning of the month, and then we just got to make it work for the remainder of the month. And so, if we get to a point where we don't have money at the end of the month, we got to sit down somewhere, which, again, I told y'all before, I like sitting on the couch watching YouTube. Works for me. Don't bother me at all. I can do it for days on end, believe it or not. I know many people who know me think I'm an extrovert and I need to be out and about kicking it all the time. I don't. I can sit on the couch and watch YouTube for 15 straight hours and do it day after day, and I will be fine. Now, Jim, on the other hand, is Mr. Busybody. He can't do that, and that's fine too. What else you do every day? He don't even know. What you do every day?
I just get up, and my problem is I think I can multitask and do multiple things at the same time. So even if I'm like carrying something through the house, I can spot something that's out of place and try to adjust that while I'm carrying something in another direction. And so I have to be busy, or you'll get bored. Man, I don't want to be bored, so I just keep busy. That's all. Stuff around us, Go ahead.
So I call it bumping around. He be bumping around all the
time. I call it putzing around. I putz around.
And so, and one of the things I know, to make sure that we keep peace in the house, I know that if I get 2 good days on the couch with YouTube, on that third day, I know I got to go outside with him. I got to bump around with him on that third day.
Mr. Do You Wanna is going to show up.
Absolutely. Mr. Do You Wanna. It's always, do you want to go here? Do you want to go there? And a lot of times I don't want to. But I know if I've had 2 good days on the couch, on that third day, even if I don't want to, I get myself together and I go. Because he's a busybody. And so
what did we do the other day? We went down to the shore of the park pulled the chairs out and the music, and sat there and watched the sunset on the side of the river.
Yes.
3 miles from the house.
Yes.
Didn't have to spend any money.
Didn't have to spend any money. I wanted to stay home, but it was that third day.
But it was a beautiful day. It was a sunset on the river. So really nice evening.
Yes, absolutely. And because we enjoy each other's company, it makes it easier. And so I would say make sure that when you retire, that if you living with somebody, that you are in the house with somebody who you enjoy their company, and they understand when you need your space and you understand when they need their space. Those things are important.
Yes. I just say yes. That's definitely yeah. Sometimes I just walk by and I'll be like, yeah, I'll be in the basement. And then, we won't see each other for hours.
And I say, okay. And then on those days that I'm sitting on the couch enjoying my YouTube, chilling, and he bumping around, and I can tell when he's antsy, I say, go outside and play with your friends. Because I'm not getting ready to play with you today.
Luckily, I have friends.
Yes. Luckily, he has friends. And so turn the light on because it's dark. And so, when you think about retirement, you'll never think that you have enough money. You will never think that you have, enough to do. Just don't be afraid of it. Make sure, that you have a solid plan for the very first year. And once you have that solid plan for the first year, then, you'll be in a groove by that time, and then you can move into something else. When I announced at my last job that I worked for the federal government that I was going to retire, a couple of people said to me, first of all, everybody was shocked that I was even old enough to retire, because according to them, I didn't look old enough to retire, whatever that looks like. And so the other thing is a couple people said to me, how are you able to afford to retire with the stock market doing what it's doing? And I was taken aback that people would really think that, that I needed to worry about affordability in retirement. So here was my answer to them. If I need to make money, I am talented enough and smart enough to be able to make money. I don't have to work this job to make money. And then they were offended.
And I definitely could go back to contracting because I'm surely worth something to somebody.
Absolutely. It's worth a lot to me, babe.
So it's all good.
And so, just make sure, if you are thinking about retirement, and you have questions, let me be clear, I am not a financial advisor, but I am willing to share what I did for my family with you. I don't have no secrets. One of the things I was talking to somebody about the other day is that people, particularly in the African-American community, we don't share and we don't talk about money because it's, I got mine, good luck with getting yours, right? And so I'm willing to talk about money, right? I'm willing to give it all to you for free because, I've already done my thing and I'm gonna continue to do my thing. And so I'm willing to share the information that I know with anyone. Also, another piece of advice I want to give people is wherever you work and whatever type of retirement account you have, when you retire, do not take all your money out your retirement account. Do not take all your money out your retirement account. You want to take out what you need at the time that you need it, because you want the other money to stay in your retirement account and continue to make money for you. So do not take all your money out of your retirement account. And if you think about it, the bigger the amount that you take out, the more taxes you have to pay on it. So if you take out, let's say you take out $40,000, depending on where you live, you got to pay your federal taxes, you got to pay your state taxes, right? And so that needs to come off the top. If you take out $100,000, that's just that much more money that you're going to have to pay in taxes for that larger amount. So keep in mind that when you taking money out, you want to do it in such a way that you can forecast for the remainder of the year with your total amount that you may have to take out for that entire year, and think about the tax implications for it. And if you have properly saved your money, you will have the money to pay the taxes on that money that you took out. And so, you can never give Uncle Sam enough. He never satisfied. And so even if you pay the taxes off the top, at the end of the year when you file your taxes, because they have made the tax system such that our houses don't count as much anymore, the kids ain't worth nothing anymore. The HELOC loans, you can only write off the interest now. That's the home equity line of credit loans. So, you got to really, talk to a financial advisor. And when I retired and I talked to the lady who took an interest in me over 30 years ago and gave me all this good information, when I got ready to retire, I had a conversation with her. And what she said to me was, you need to get a financial advisor.
Like you needed one, huh?
And I did. I definitely did.
Yeah.
But I'm still very much active in what goes on with the account. I keep my eye on the account because I don't want no foolishness. If a dime come up missing, I'm gonna know the next day. Mm-hmm. So you got about 24 hours to put my dime back, because otherwise I'm gonna be asking you what happened to my dime.
Yes, she will.
So don't just turn your money over to a financial advisor and plan not to be involved with it. Keep your eye on your money. You hear stars talk all the time about how they had these people managing their money and they stole their money. Don't give people the opportunity to do that. Just make sure you know what's going on with your money, and keep your eye on it. And don't be afraid to ask questions, and if you're working with a financial advisor once you retire, or even before, if you're working with them, don't be afraid to ask questions. And if you feel like they don't want to answer your questions, they're not being honest with you, they're being short with you, they're not giving you the time that you need, get another one. Mm-hmm. Get another one.
I had one question for him and one statement. The question was, "Are you any good?" And then the statement was, "Cause she gonna be watching you." And so he answered, "Yes, he's good," and he said, "Thank you for the heads up."
I also only have the financial advisor managing Jim's 401k. I manage my own 401, my own TSP. I don't know. I ain't doing that. I'm not giving you all my money to manage, because one thing I'm not going to do is when I need some money, I got to, get in touch with you to get the money. I'm not doing that. And so, so I let him manage one and I manage one, and we right neck and neck. So I'm still on the right track, and I still have my money in there in those funds so that it can continue to make money. And so with that being said, does anybody have any questions? Kathy says, wow, I was asked the same question when I retired. Kathy, is that the question about how can you afford to retire? I'm sure that was probably like where that question came in. So babe, you have any final thoughts?
Final thoughts is for the people out there who are in position and wondering or just waiting a couple extra months to pull it off. Like my cousin Ron told us in West Virginia, it was just the three of us on top of a mountain overlooking his property. And he told us there's life after work. And it resonated with Sherelle, and it really just hit me. And, we started like zeroing in and narrowing down the time and looking forward to it. And then, August 31st came, and it's been a whirlwind ever since. And I couldn't think of anything better to do.
There is life after
Yeah,
work.
life after work.
And also, oh, I was getting ready to say something now and then had a senior moment. Um, I was gonna pick up on what you said. We can sit around and we can say, well, I'm gonna wait till I pay off my car. I'm
Mhm.
gonna wait till I pay off the house. I'm gonna wait till I do this. I'm gonna wait till the kids graduate. I'm gonna wait. And then guess what happens? We die and we never get to retire. And somebody else called children, if we have them, or family members, if we have them, then get all of our money to mismanage and spend however they so choose that they did not earn or work for or can really appreciate. So don't wait until you do this or wait until all the stars are lined up. The stars will be lined up and they will stay lined up. And I just hope that each person get an opportunity to retire and just see what life is like without having to work, because it is a beautiful thing.
So let me just say this one thing. Retirement, the definition in the word retirement is the withdrawal of one's position or occupation or from one's active working life. And then it says many people choose to retire when they are elderly or incapable of doing their job due to health reasons.
Mm, yes.
Does that sound like retirement to you when you're incapable of doing your job because of health reasons? Didn't want that to be me. You know,
Right.
didn't want.
That's an important point. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah,
Yeah, you definitely don't want to wait until you can't even enjoy it because you have some type of health condition that won't allow you to enjoy it.
right.
Do it while you're young enough to enjoy it and can appreciate it, and just know that it'll work out. Ira said, "No regrets on my retirement. I love it along with my job, spending time with my grandson."
That's right.
So, and that's what it's about. Most of us have been working since we were teenagers
Right.
and have worked over 40 years. And so I will leave you all with this question before I go into my what the hell segment. I will leave you with this question. Do you want to retire, and what does that look like for you? Write it down,
Hey.
make it plain, and read it often. Thank you, babe, for
All
coming
right.
on. I appreciate you as always. And I will see you shortly.
All right. Bye.
So I am going to go next into my what the hell segment because I have asked myself this week, what the hell, multiple times. And I have asked myself, what the hell? How in the hell could a self proclaimed multi-billionaire not be able to pay a $500 million fine? What the hell? Has he been pulling our leg all of these years? He's supposed to be the great businessman. He wrote the book, The Art of the Deal. You mean to tell me that the man who is known for the art of the deal couldn't make a deal to get a $500 million? What the hell? He has these properties in New York, and I know they are worth over a $500 million. Got 40 Wall Street, got Trump Tower, got Bedminster, got all of these places, and he could not get someone, anybody, to give him a $500 million or make up the difference. Maybe he only got $200 million. Maybe he couldn't find nobody to help supplement what it was that he needed to pay to satisfy this judgment, to appeal this judgment. So yes, I was asking myself, what the hell? Like, are we being hoodwinked and bamboozled? Absolutely, we are. And this is the person who is supposed to be, this brilliant businessman who have filed bankruptcy multiple times. And now he's asking us yet again to let him run this country. What the hell are we going to do come November? Are we going to sit back and let him win and then complain when everything that happens after that is a detriment to not only ourselves, our families, our kids, and our neighbors? Is that what we're going to do? Are we going to continue to post on social media and just ask our people that follow us on social media, what the hell is he talking about? Or are we going to get to those polls, take everybody we know to the polls, and make sure that they vote blue straight down the ballot? Because I am tired of asking myself, what the hell when it comes to politics? And with that, I want to say thank you all for joining me. And I look forward to you all joining me again. My next show will be on April the 4th. It is going to be a powerhouse show. And so I say stay tuned. And don't forget to click on the link in the comments and subscribe to my YouTube page. Have a great night. Thank you for joining and participating in Let's Get Into It. I want to thank my special guest for being brave enough to get into it. Without you, these conversations cannot happen. Remember, different viewpoints, respect, and love are the foundations of Let's Get Into It. If there's a topic you think I should discuss, drop me a recommendation. If you're interested in being my special guest, let me know, because we can and will get into it. Have a great day on purpose, and I look forward to your continued engagement and support as we get into it.